The Red Summer of 1919 is one of the bloodiest and least taught chapters in American history, and understanding it changes how we understand race, power, and resistance in the United States. Follow if you've never heard this story. After World War I ended, Black America was changing fast. Hundreds of thousands of black soldiers returned home from fighting overseas. They had worn U.S. uniforms, defended democracy, and seen a world beyond Jim Crow. At the same time, the Great Migration was underway, with black families moving from the rural South to northern cities in search of jobs, safety, and dignity. But opportunity came with backlash. White supremacy felt threatened, jobs were scarce, housing was limited, and racist lies painted black veterans and workers as dangers instead of citizens. Newspapers spread fear, politicians stayed silent, and mobs felt empowered. That tension exploded in 1919. Over the course of that summer and fall, white mobs attacked black communities in more than 35 cities and towns across the United States. This wasn't random violence. It was coordinated, targeted, and often ignored or supported by local authorities. In Chicago, the violence began when a black teenager named Eugene Williams drifted across an unofficially segregated section of Lake Michigan. White men threw stones at him until he drowned. When police refused to arrest the attackers, days of violence followed. White mobs burned black homes and businesses. Black residents defended themselves. By the time it ended, 38 people were dead, most of them black. In Washington, D.C., white mobs, including off-duty soldiers, roamed the streets attacking black residents. Black veterans organized armed defense, forcing the federal government to finally intervene with troops. In Elaine, the violence reached a horrifying scale. After black sharecroppers attempted to organize for fair wages, white mobs and local law enforcement slaughtered black residents. Estimates suggest hundreds of black people were killed, though the true number may never be known. This is why historians call it the Red Summer. Red for the blood spilled in the streets, and red for the fear used to justify it. But here's what history often leaves out. Black people did not just suffer, they resisted. For one of the first times in U.S. history, black communities fought back openly. Veterans used military training to defend neighborhoods. Families stood guard over homes. This was not passive victimhood, it was organized survival. The Red Summer exposed a truth America didn't want to face. Racial violence wasn't about crime. It wasn't about order. It was about control. It was about punishing black progress, suppressing black political power, and sending a message: stay in your place. The aftermath reshaped the nation. The NAACP expanded rapidly, pushing for federal anti-lynching laws. Black journalists documented the violence when mainstream media wouldn't. And a new generation of black thinkers and artists, fueling the Harlem Renaissance, began asking deeper questions about freedom, identity, and resistance. The Red Summer of 1919 wasn't an isolated moment. It was a warning. It showed what happens when racism is allowed to masquerade as law, when lies are treated as truth, and when violence is excused instead of confronted. And it reminds us of something essential. Black survival has always required courage. Black progress has always been contested. And black resistance has always been part of American history. Remembering the Red Summer isn't about reopening wounds. It's about naming the truth, so the same patterns aren't repeated under new names. Follow us to uncover more hidden black stories. Comment if you'd like to hear more about the Red Summer, the Great Migration, or black resistance movements. We don't glorify injustice. We reveal truth, so history can't repeat itself.